Okay, I want to talk about file storage devices, and the first thing is understanding and selecting different storage devices. And there are a variety of media types for storing files. You have disk drives, and you also have flash RAM devices, RAM standing for random access memory. So media can generally be categorized as magnetic, optical, or solid state. And also, media can be internal, inside the computer, or external storage devices that you plug into the outside. This is a picture of a disk drive, a hard disk drive, and the mechanical devices that read and write disk usually look like this on the inside. We normally see just that outer edge of it, but it contains these platters that spin, and you have a read-write head, or sometimes more than one read-write head, that then read the information from those disk platters. This includes hard disk drives and DVD drives. You also have removable disks, and CDs, DVDs, floppy drives, those are all removable. For these disk types, you have a disk and a drive that are separate. So you have the CD and then you have the CD drive, and those are two separate things. A hard disk, however, is different. It combines the hard disk and the hard drive, so they aren't separated. It's one thing. So that's why sometimes you'll hear people refer to it as the hard disk. Other times you'll refer to it as the hard drive because they are inseparable. You also have flash RAM, which is what we call static or non-volatile memory. What that means is that even when you have your flash drive and it's not plugged into the computer, the memory is still there. You don't lose anything from it. You do plug that flash drive directly into a USB port. And most computers nowadays do have multiple USB ports to plug in your USB drive or whatever the flash RAM is. There's also a flash card reader that has a flash card. So a lot of your digital cameras use flash card readers with flash memory cards as well. And then the last one is a solid state drive, SSD, and that is replacing mechanical hard disk drives in some systems. We won't actually talk a whole lot about solid state drives. So this chart shows all the different storage types, as well as its attributes or properties with it, and the pros and cons of each type of storage. So let's start with the internal hard disk. It is magnetic. It's internal, obviously, inside the computer, which means that it's non-removable. In order to take it, you have to take your entire computer apart. The pros are that it is high capacity. It will store a lot of information. It's very reliable, and it's very fast. The con, however, is that it is not easily portable. You also have an external hard disk that is also magnetic. It is external, meaning it's outside of the computer, and it is removable. It's also got a high capacity. It is very reliable, and it is portable. However, the con is that it is slower than the internal. Usually it requires a free USB or some sort of port to plug into, and so it does require that separate power source. Floppy drives and disks, they are magnetic. They are also portable. They are compatible with older computers, which is a good thing. The bad things is that it was slow, low capacity. You couldn't store very much on it. Unreliable. They broke all the time. If you got a little dust in there, it would be disrupt all your files. And most newer computers don't have floppy drives. Then you have a writable CD or DVD drive. That is optical storage. It is portable. Most computers do have a CD or a DVD drive, or both. Blanks are very inexpensive. However, the cons, they are slow to write compared to other media types out there. And as the CDs or DVDs age, then the reliability declines. The next type is a USB flash drive. It is a RAM-based storage device. It is portable. The pros, most computers do have USB ports. They are very lightweight, compact to carry. The cons, the capacity is limited. However, today you can get an 8 gig or a 16 gig, which is an awful lot of memory. It is more expensive for megabytes than a writable CD or DVD is, however. Next one is your flash card reader or your flash memory cards. They are also RAM based and portable. Most computers do have the USB port again. They are very lightweight, very compact to carry, and the cards can easily be swapped in and out of the readers. The cons, the capacity is limited and memory cards are expensive and they're easy to misplace or lose. And the last one, again, a solid state drive, SSD. It is RAM based. It's internal or external. It is very reliable, very fast, very quiet, but it's also very expensive. To get information about our disks, we are basically going to click the File Explorer icon on the taskbar, and then you can double click the computer in the navigation pane, which is on the left, and you'll see your computer window here. In the computer window, it will show all of the built-in drives, and any external drives that are plugged in will also be shown on the right. To get information about your disks, generally speaking, there is a drive letter followed by a colon, and Windows will automatically assign those drive letters. So A and B, if present, those are your floppy drives. C is your primary hard disk drive, and then if you have a secondary hard drive or if you have like a backup drive, you'll see it's usually D, and then all the way through Z are your other drives. So for example, if you had, let's say, 4 USB ports and you plug in your flash drive, it could go into drive E or F or G, it just depends. And there's usually a little icon or picture that reflects the type of drive in the computer window, so it'll show you if this is a hard disk or a flash drive or a CD or whatever it is. There's also a generic name or a custom volume label that identifies the disk. So for example, if I have a flash drive that is a Kingston drive and I plug that into one of my ports, it might say Kingston F or ScanDisk K. So it depends on the brand of the flash drive and what port I'm putting it into. The disk capacity will also show in the computer window. And so to understand the disk capacity, computers are using a binary format. Binary meaning zeros and ones. And each 0 or 1 is called a bit. And 8 bits is called a byte. A byte basically represents a single character of information. So for example, if I had a Word document and I typed the letter W, then that file would be 1 byte big. The capacity of a disk, the size of a file, the amount of memory, they're all going to be expressed in bytes. Now, I don't expect you to memorize all of this, but it'll help show the relationship. So for example, a kilobyte or a KB is approximately 1024 bytes. Kilo meaning 1,000. A megabyte or MB is essentially 1,000,000 bytes. So it's a kilobyte of kilobytes. A gigabyte or GB is that number there. So you can see that it is a kilobyte of megabytes. And then a terabyte or TB is that number, which is a kilobyte of gigabytes. So again, you don't exactly have to know the numbers, but you should recognize, for example, if I had a choice between buying a computer that had 20 gigabytes of memory versus one that had a terabyte of memory, you can see that a terabyte is much larger than 20 gigabytes. The disk capacity can also be shown in the properties window of your drive. So if you just right click on the drive icon and then click the properties, you'll get this window, and it will show you a little pie here, and the pink is how much free space, the blue is how much used space, and you'll see that besides the visual representation, it does give you exactly how many bytes are used or free, and in this case how many gigabytes or megabytes or what terabytes are used as well. And this is the properties is also where you're going to assign a volume label. So you can assign a descriptive name to a hard drive or a floppy disk. So you can see here I've got B. Anderson, and the volume label can be up to 11 characters, but it may not include any of these symbols or a space. So to assign a volume label, in the computer window, we're simply going to right-click the drive icon, click Properties, and in the General tab at the very top, we'll just select whatever is named there and type in what you want it to be, and then click OK. Now, when we have removable drives plugged into our computer, we should not just take them out. We should, in most cases, you can simply unplug the removable drive, but you should wait 30 seconds after the last file operation. So for example, if I'm in Word and I'm saving a file, I want to not just press save and take my flash drive out, but I want to wait 30 seconds to make sure that it's fully saved onto my flash drive. To be safe, instead of just taking the flash drive out, I should actually eject the device before removing it. That way I know that the program has finished its operation, and then when I open up that file again, it's all going to be there. To eject, I'm going to either right-click the device in the computer window and then click Eject, or in the notification area, I can click on this little symbol that has the disk flash drive and the green check, and it'll tell me I can safely remove the hardware, and then I can take it out. Now, to view the disk usage information in the computer window, you'll see that besides the drive letter, below it, it will be a blue bar, and that shows how much of that drive is used. The gray part of the bar is how much is free. And if I show the details pane in my computer window, then I get the specific number of gigabytes that is free or used. With external hard disks, they will appear as a hard disk in the computer window as well, but it does connect to a USB or a FireWire cable. Normally with external drives, when I plug one in, I get an autoplay window that will allow me to choose what I want to do with that external drive, and I should use the eject command to stop an external hard disk before disconnecting it. Some external hard disks connect directly to a network, and those are called network addressable storage, or NAS for short.